Hi, welcome to the Department of Instructional Technology, setting up your classroom technology for simultaneous instruction. I'm Kathleen Mahin, and with me today is Larissa Uceda, and we're both from Instructional Technology, and we're going to go through with you today some ideas that we've come up with of ways to set up your classroom for simultaneous instruction. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of take it nice and basic and nice and simple. So, because there's only about, it depends on what you count, but there's about 35 in-person instructional days this year. So let's look at how we can make the best of those and what we can do for our students. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at, we're going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover what devices your students will have. We're going to cover what devices you as the teacher has. And some of the basic classroom setups. So we've been going out into buildings and trying out different stuff, talking to some teachers that are already working in phase one. And we've come up with some ideas that we want to share with you to make your life a little easier with some of the setup. We also want to show you some ideas of how you can set up your Zoom, and also give you a chance to go through and ask questions today and allow us to answer as many as we can. So today you got to this video by going to our Simultaneous PD website. So that is on this website is when I'm going to scroll down to the afternoon. So right here, you'll see that this is the presentation for those who have a laptop and a smart board in the class. So if that's not what you have in your classroom, then take a look at the other two options and see if that fits best. We're all giving the same information today, except it's exact to what the technology is that you have in your class. So even if this is your school, if that's not what you have, go ahead to the presentation that fits you best. You'll also see on here that our slide deck that we'll be using today is also listed, along with our live question link. Now, as I said, we are monitoring these questions. We will be stopping throughout the presentation to answer absolutely as many as we can. Now, there's a chance we're not going to be able to get to all of them. So what we're going to do is at the end, we're going to get together as a department and we're going to come up with a FAQ to help you and to show and go through and answer as many questions as we possibly can. If they don't pertain to our department, we'll send them on to the department that they do pertain to. Also in here for after the presentation, it's not turned on yet, so we got to wait till the end, is your survey and attendance link. So don't forget to fill that out at the end. Let me head back over to our agenda here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I already showed you that yes.
Someone mentioned that there's a little echo, but I don't really hear it. So if other people hear it, maybe we can put it in the questions and we can take a.
All right. Yeah, hopefully the audio is okay for you guys. But if not, go ahead and add more in that questions. And as we said, we are monitoring it as we're going through during this presentation. And that live question link, as I said before, is on that simultaneous instruction PD website through RCSD Learns. All right, so let's get in. We are very excited to be able to talk to you guys about what your students are going to have as they're in person in the buildings during phase 2 and phase 3. Hopefully many of you guys read the email that went out yesterday or listened to the presentation last night at the Board of Education. So our K2 classrooms, actually pre-K2 classrooms, sorry, pre-K, pre-K2 classrooms will have a iPad for each student in their class during the day, during in-person learning. At home, they'll still have their Chromebooks, but in school, they will have the iPads, one for every in-person student. For our grades 3 through 5. So our grades 3 through 5 are going to have some kind of Chrome device. So when I say some kind, what I'm saying is a Chromebox or a Chromebook. So our Chrome boxes have been in the K2 classrooms. And so you may have seen them. They're just a monitor with a little box on back. They are smaller than the all-in-one because you don't have, they're not quite as big. It's just a little box on the back. And those will be available for the grades 3 through 5. So what they did ask is that the principals, the administration, and the custodial staff will work on at the building how those are distributed. Each principal did receive what technologies in their building, where it is, very detailed description of what the Chrome box is so that they knew what to move. But we are asking that the schools take care of getting those set up for you. That way our technicians can continue to work very, very tirelessly, getting all the Chromebooks fixed for our remote students that are switching them out in the lockers. And also our technicians who are making sure your front of the room technology is set. So schools are going to be doing the Chrome boxes. Now, each school, based on how many Chrome boxes they have and how many students are returning, will get a shipment of or will be identified their Chromebooks that they have available in the school, or they will receive more from instructional technology to use during this COVID time. So if your classroom has 12 students returning and another classroom may have 2 or 3 students returning, you're going to want to work with your administrators about the classes that have the most number of students returning. You may want to have those to be a little bit more, have more Chromebooks than the boxes, because Chromebooks do take up less room than the Chrome boxes. But you're going to work with your custodial staff, your administration to get those all set. And I do see in the chat that someone was asking, why aren't our students bringing the Chromebooks back and forth? So just to touch base, we're not at questions yet, but we want to make sure that when our students return to full-time school, that they have the Chromebooks available to them. So going back and forth, there's been quite a large number of breakages and issues with Chromebooks at our home. That's to be expected. My stepson already broke his as well this year. So we're going to have more, but we want to make sure that when we go back full time, that our students have that technology when they get back. So we're trying to avoid that age group, bringing them back and forth just so that we cut down on some of the breakage. Now, our 6th through 12th grade students will be bringing the Chromebooks back and forth. Our 9 through 12 guys, they have been doing it. They're old hats at it. But our 6th graders, 7th and 8th, will be bringing them back and forth. And we will be giving each student a book bag that they can use to carry that Chromebook back and forth to prevent some damage. So that is our student device. And let's go ahead, Larissa. Do we have additional questions in our question board here? I know I got one of
No,
them.
there really aren't. So I'll
Okay,
continue on with the teacher
perfect.
part, and then I'll check in with you, and there might be. I'm sure there will be in a little bit.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to talk to you about the teacher devices in the classroom. And then we're really going to spend more time on the teacher setup, which if we're going to worry about anything right now, and there's so much, getting the teacher setup done, I think will alleviate some anxiety. So I feel like the first focus should be the teacher setup and getting the instruction. So you can get the teacher instruction. So the teacher has a laptop and you have a smart board if you're at these schools. I right now am not using any audio, any amplification system. So that, and in a little bit, I'll put a mask on. So this is really all you need to get started is your laptop and the smart board. We're gonna go over a couple different setups. The webcam will allow you some flexibility, especially during that SEL, that whole group morning meeting. So there is a request via the help desk. And then the lapel mic, it actually has a headset or a lapel that if you do not have a sound system in your schools, most of you do not, some do, I would go ahead and fill that form out because that will give you more flexibility to move a little bit further away from your laptop. So that microphone on your laptop is right next to the webcam. So coming like this far, you will still be able to hear, but you would be able to move a little bit further away. Also, if you have two teachers, an integrated classroom, I think I would put in for the headset for each of you also. Okay. All right. So basic classroom setup. If you have been, just gonna come over here, at home and you've been working off of your laptop only. You have your laptop, you have your presentation, you Zoom and share your presentation. You may decide to do what's in this picture. So this picture is keeping the duplicate. You're hooking up to the smart board and the same presentation is here and here, okay? So it's duplicate. And also you'll notice the one major thing is the way the laptop, this cart was actually not in this position, it was turned around. We turned the cart so the laptop would be here, just like I have set up right now. So I can I can see the kids on Zoom. I can share my screen. Actually, sorry. If you're doing this, your kids would be on Zoom. This is the same, it's not separate. Duplicate. Your kids are on Zoom right now in here. They are on Zoom, but they're in the waiting room. So when they come back, you would see like the 3 kids and you would scroll through. If you've been working that way at home, and you can try our next step, but know that this is perfectly fine also. All right. The kids in front of you can see and the Zoom kids can see. All right. So this is another setup, and this is similar to what I have here. The laptop is just on a table perpendicular. And this one is a little bit different because we're extending the desktop. And we'll go into what this means, but I wanted to show it to you first. So the content that the teacher is using is on the smartboard. And now the red does not work. I'll fix that before I leave. And the Zoom is here. So the teacher is looking at the Zoom, looking at the kids in front of them. The kids in front see the content and the Zoom kids see the content. This is our biggest suggestion to set this up in this way. And so you can get your content and teach in those in-person days. All right. So how would we do this? We have a couple how-tos. And first is about extending your desktop. So let's see what that looks like. And this is kind of a how-to. I do want to say, don't worry about the details. Worry about, just know that this is possible, and then you would be able to try it out. So kind of get the overview. And if you get the overview of the setup, the details, we have lots of videos, lots of sheets to guide you.
Hi, I'm in my classroom and I have my presentation up and it's duplicate. So I see what's on the smartboard and the screen are the same thing. I also have Zoom open. So then I can have two things open, but it would be nice if I extend my desktop and have my presentation there and my Zoom here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to press Windows P and then I can click on extend. Now think projector, Windows P. So now it's on extend. And this is what it looks like. So I see my presentation here and I just see the background on the smartboard. So I can pull this presentation up and I'm going to try and move it that way. It doesn't go that way. And I'm going to move it this way. And it goes over to the smartboard. But what I really want is to be able to drag it the other way to the left. But I'm going to click on this cog or gear, and it brings up the settings. And then if I click on the home, I need to go to the system because I want to talk about the display. So I click here under display. This is my first monitor, which is my computer, and this is my smartboard. So I'm going to move it to the other side. And then I press apply. Now this makes more sense if I close it, because I can pull this to the right and it comes back to my computer. So now I just move it to the left. And then on my computer, I click on Zoom and I have my Zoom open for my class. So now I have the two things open. I can go full screen with Zoom too. All right, I hope that helps.
Okay.
Hi, I'm in my classroom and
All right, so we talked about extending that desktop. And I want to kind of show, and I'm going to change my video so you can see a different view. Okay, So the one thing about when you extend your desktop, you have your computer and any like smart notebook file or a Google Slides, you're going to pull it down from on your computer and drag it over to the other screen. When you want to bring it back down, you have to click here on and then pull down and drag it back. If you have a second monitor at home, I would continue to use your second monitor and show your lesson on your second monitor. Keep your Zoom on your kids on the computer. You may not be doing that. And that will mirror what you're doing in the classroom. One also nice thing to do is before you teach that ELA block or one of your periods, you can get all your tabs set on this screen. So I have my presentation, I have my YouTube video, and I have a smart notebook file behind it. So I can navigate everything from the board. And we're gonna talk about sharing. I can share this screen for my kids on Zoom, and obviously the kids in front of me are going to see. Okay?
Sorry, I wasn't able to share that for you.
That was, shut up, Siri. Okay, I love that Siri jumped in from my phone, I guess. So we have this set up, but there's one more thing that we need to do. We want to be able, you saw how I can easily write on the smartboard, and you can see it over Zoom. In Smart Notebook, you obviously can do the same thing. We do need to, when you're using a second monitor, you need to when you orient the smartboard, do all those dots, you need to tell it to do it on this one, not your computer. So here's a short video to explain.
I have extended my desktop and pulled my content to the smartboard. And if I pick up a pen and write on the screen, it's going to write on my desktop. How to fix this is we are going to press the two buttons to orient. And I see that it comes to this screen. This is on my desktop, what you're seeing. And I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar. And now the orient screen is on smartboard, so I can orient it. And now when I pick up a pen, it writes on my smartboard, and we are all set to go. I have extended my desktop and
Okay, earlier someone said, well, the new smartboards, they don't have those two buttons. I believe there's just an orient button. All of us have been out of the classroom, so I believe there's just one button if you're you have a newer smartboard.
I have extended my desktop and pulled.
I think you must love this video, Larissa.
I knew you would comment. Are there some questions, Kathleen?
You know what? We do have a few questions, so let me take a look at them. We have a question about headphones and where do they get headphones from? So, you will want to connect with your school secretary. The headphones are something that the schools do purchase, and check with them to see if they have any of those. And how will kids at home be able to hear you in person what you're saying? So Larissa, I know in our one this morning, there it is. Larissa's got her beautiful mask all ready to go so that you guys can at least get an idea of what it might sound like when you are masked. Now remember, everybody in this group, So except a couple schools, because I know there's a couple schools that have the amplification systems, but most in this group here today don't. So you are going to want to have that help desk ticket filled out for the wireless mic. That's either a lapel, or as Larissa said, you wear as like a little microphone, a little boom microphone. But let's go ahead and let's hear what Larissa sounds like with a mask on.
Well, I do want to say that, yes, that's nice. We can all, and I think people should get the wireless. You do not, and you will get it, but you do not need it. You do not need to worry about it right now. You don't have it. Don't worry about it. Don't buy anything. Okay. I have a mask so you can hear. Right now, I'm close though to the smart board. So if you're presenting, you're going to be a little bit further. So this is what it would sound like. Now I'm just going to keep going. We talked about first doing your setup perpendicular, then either keeping it duplicate or pressing Windows, which is the Windows key on your keyboard, P, and extending the desktop. That allows you to have content here and your Zoom here. And I'm looking at my in-person kids. When you do this, and you share your screen, when I shared, I chose screen 2. Monitor 2 is my smartboard. So that way I don't have to worry that I have to go share this presentation. Now I have to share Smart Notebook. Now I have to share my YouTube. If it is on the screen, it's shared, and I know my students here can see it. And if I share screen 2, I know my at-home kids can see it because it's on this screen. You do not have to do that. It's just a suggestion. So when you go to share, you're going to see screen 1. And this, I would choose screen 2 and then share.
Larissa, if I don't have that, what would I do if in Zoom?
There's only a few people we've seen lately that don't have it. Just to tell you the truth, just email us. It's a Zoom setting. Everyone should have it.
So it's nice and easy to fix that.
Yeah, that is.
All right. I just got a question in. Somebody was asking, what if I want to have my content on my laptop and my Zoom students on the smart board? Is that possible?
Yes, I'm thinking the only reason I can think of to do that is if during your morning meeting, you want all the kids to see each other.
Right.
Okay.
So for a discussion, that might be something. So it kind of depends on what the purpose is of your lesson as to how you have it set up. But know that, yes, you can switch it back and forth. So if you want the students to see each other.
Right. I can bring my kids over to the smart board. And so then we can all see each other.
All right. So a couple quick questions before we move on to the next is, am I going to be getting an all-in-one computer? Well, yeah, probably.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen right now. But you do have your laptop and you have your smart board. So you have both a main device and a presentation device. Plus you will also get, if you put in the request for the webcam, you will get a webcam. All right. And we are granting all the webcam devices. And this was another question in the chat. if you put in for a microphone, yet you do have a working amplification system, that's where someone might reach out and have a conversation just to kind of see, because webcams, we are granting all of those. The microphone, we're working on making sure that those who do not, because the amplification systems are already a microphone that you wear around your neck.
Can I'm kind of going to jump ahead, but you were just talking about the webcam and we were just talking about whole group, like SEL morning meeting.
Okay.
I have, at first I was like, we don't need a webcam. It's, I actually think for your whole group time, it's not a bad thing. It's not needed the first day, but I have one on top of the smartboard I plugged in, and I'm just going to go to the video on Zoom. My mouse was over there, so I got to drag it over here and click on the other webcam. So this is what I would use it for during that morning meeting. And let me even stop my share. Something like this, okay? And I would go, sorry, Kathleen.
No, you're good.
To gallery view, right? And so the kids in person or at home would see the in-person kids. This is not needed for most of the day. In fact, I think it would be distracting, but at times I think it would be helpful, especially during that morning meeting. So that was just jumping in there, but I really, this next part, what we're talking about and just setting up and getting the extended desktop, practicing sharing is really where the focus, I think the main focus should be. So I'm now sharing my screen 2 again. And I just want to show one short video.
With extended desktop, I'm going to share my content and Zoom to screen 2.
Lord.
So Larissa, what I'm hearing is that it's okay to start off simple, right? Basic setup. Don't stress out quite yet. Let's just start basic setup. And then we did, the order is going through for the webcams, the microphones, all of that. They will be here. We just have to wait for them to get shipped. So just like Amazon, sometimes it takes a little bit.
All right. So
but they will be here, but you don't need it to start. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead, Larissa.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I want to get back to sharing my screen. This is just a short video because this is really important.
With extended desktop, I'm going to share my content in Zoom to screen 2.
Okay. So the last thing is, again, these are your kids, whatever the configuration is in the classroom, but they will be looking at the smartboard. If you have 2 people in the classroom, integrated rooms, you may have it set up differently. All right, Kathleen, as far as classroom setup, do we have any additional questions before I pass it off to you?
Let's see here. I don't see as many classrooms or many classroom setups. It's asking if there's different tables available and those things. Those are all things you're going to connect with your administration and your custodial staff to see what is available at your school. Backpacks, as soon as they come in, will be distributed to the students. Let's see, and that seems to be it for those type of questions at this moment. So we're
Okay.
a little delayed with Zoom. So they might come in. YouTube has a few second delay.
That's fine. Well, we can come back to classroom setup. So now it's over to you.
It's my turn again. All right. So for those of you that know me, one of my all-time favorite topics is Zoom. So what we did is we wanted to look at what are the couple of features in Zoom? What are the few things that we truly felt was super important for you to have going forward, especially with the move with simultaneous instruction? And the number one thing that we tested and checked and played around with was the need for that Zoom desktop client. So the difference is that the Zoom desktop client is the actual program that you're installing on the computer. Everybody's got rights to install it. You don't need admin rights for this one. We want you to install it both on your laptop and your desktop. Now, typically, we've been saying, go to Rock Connect, click Zoom, start meeting, all of that. So your desktop client is going to connect virtually to Rock Connect, and it's going to have it so that you're always logged in with your correct account, no matter if you click on a link or you go through Rock Connect. But one of the features that it does have that we really, really want you to have is that when you're doing that extended desktop, when you're doing that two screens, you can have your full gallery view. So all your students on one side and then all your students or your content on the other that you're sharing. So that's where this is super important. So let me play this video really quick just to give you guys an idea of how, yikes, I hit that button a little bit. Let me make sure we've got our sound on here. And let's go ahead and play. To make sure that you have the most up-to-date Zoom desktop app, we're going to go ahead and hop onto Rock Connect. I'm going to scroll down and click on my Zoom. Oh, let me make it big for you. Sorry about that. Come on. All right, there we go. To make sure that you have the most up-to-date Zoom desktop app, we're going to go ahead and hop onto Rock Connect. I'm going to scroll down and click on my Zoom application. So come over to the right, click on Download Zoom Client. I'm going to go ahead and click Download. And we'll let Zoom download the exe here. When it's done downloading, I'm going to go ahead and open it. I want to click Sign In, and I want to go to Sign In with SSO. This is the important part. It's going to ask me my company domain. I'm going to type in RCSDK12, and I hit Continue. It said Open Zoom. All right, so this is what your desktop client's going to look like. All right, so that is the process. So all of those videos, everything, not only is it in this presentation, it's also on RCSD Learns. It's on the Zoom website. It is everywhere. So take a look at that. The next piece. All right, let's see here. The next slide here is our Zoom settings for simultaneous instruction. So on here, what I did is I went through and we really, like Larissa was in one building, someone else another. We played around with this to see what was super important for you. So on that link there, it's going to take you to just a subpage right where we are. So Approaches Learning, we've got it right there. So it's also linked. We'll have it nice and easy to find. But so these are the most important things for you to look at and make sure are set up with Zoom. Number one is your audio and video. So you saw Larissa switching and choosing which webcam to pick. So especially with a webcam plugged in and your laptop, your video settings, right? So everybody knows where that little video icon is. To the right of it is a little drop up arrow. And then we've got video settings. And this is where you can then switch. Like here, it's integrated webcam. So you can switch which camera you want Zoom to display. And it's the exact same thing with the audio settings. So, and the microphone. So if you have the boom mic on and you don't want to use the computer audio, you would then switch it to that microphone. It'll pop up here on that list. All right. You can also play around with those settings. All right, logging on to Zoom with multiple devices. So, the other thing I forgot to mention in the audio, which goes into logging on with multiple devices. When you have more than one Zoom open in a meeting or in a room, so you have two devices in the room on Zoom, or a student on Zoom and you're on Zoom, right? So two things in the room. If you have the audio and the speakers on both devices, you will know it. There will be a very loud screeching and a ton of feedback. So if you are on more than one device in Zoom at the same time in a room, you need only one device should have the microphone and should have the speaker on. The rest need to go into mute and to turn off that speaker. All right, no audio for the second devices. To log into multiple devices, I've got a little thing, sheet here, how you can log in, say that one of the iPads in your room, you want to log into Zoom and use that to help along the way as well, if you're in the K2. Directions to do that are in this section here. You're just going to do what you did with the desktop client. You're going to use the Zoom, either the app or the client. You're going to sign in with SSO and join your meeting. You'll just then be listed as two separate people and will automatically gain that co-hosting. That works out really well for helping to manage students and chat and to be able to go into more than one breakout at a time. All right, your dual monitor display feature. Larissa did a fabulous job going through extended desktop and how to get that set up in the class. Well, in Zoom as well, there is a dual monitor feature. So if you are using that extended desktop and you do want to split your Zoom into two separate windows, so you don't have your person as part of your screen, you actually want them separate, you can use the dual monitor display feature. All right, and that's just right in your video settings under general dual monitor. And this is a picture of what it would look like with dual monitors. This is actually what I do when I'm running these meetings. So I'm doing different things on the different monitors. All right, we've also gotten a lot of questions about how do you get your shared content with your picture on the side rather than overlapping or something that way. So if you put on side-by-side mode, the shared user is able to see your content and you at the same time. This is where you find it, right in your settings and side-by-side mode. Now, the last bit I definitely want to touch on. It's not quite a setting as you're running Zoom, but it is our security for Zoom. So I get tons of tickets. I get tons of emails asking so-and-so came in, changing their name. They said inappropriate stuff. How do I prevent that? How can I protect? How can I know who they are? Well, the answer is authentication. So what authentication does is it makes it so that anyone joining that Zoom, your link, if you've turned it on, has to log in through Rock Connect. So that means that it's only an RCSD K-12 staff or an RCSD 1-to-1 student. All right, so that is how we are protecting our students. Now, at the end, in your usage reports, if you have authentication on, it'll give you a list of all the ID numbers of your students that were in your class, and it allows us to be able to find out who was not behaving quite so well that day. Now, authentication, I have this all set. I've got the directions, videos, step by step, everything that you need to turn on authentication is here through that link in that in the presentation on the rcsdk12.org Zoom website. All right. Also, we're available for office hours. If you need help with it, just let us know and we will absolutely be there to help you. So I do see a bunch of questions.
Kathleen, I'm going to jump in and ask you a few
Perfect.
that have to do with
Awesome.
Zoom. I'd like to talk a little more about Zoom, and then we'll go back to classroom setup. When I don't have my video, I can't see my students' screens, and it doesn't show my profile pic.
Oh, so what that means is that you have on the hide profile. So here we go. I'm going to put myself on here real quick and you'll get to see what Larissa and I look like on the back end. So same thing in our video settings. Let me bring it down.
I wanted to jump in and say, I thought it was just if you go to more, there's show video panel. That might
there is a show video panel, but there's also, if you go in here, this is where you can have it always come on, right? So you're going to go and make sure to show hide non-video participants. Right now I have off, but if you uncheck it, you'll see everybody that is there. All right. And also, as Larissa was saying, in that share, you do have the more in the drop down where we've got the hide video panel versus show video panel. So we do have a couple places that you can change that up.
The next question is there a way to turn off reactions for the kids?
Yes, I believe there is. I need to go through and check that. I believe that is in the default settings, and I would be happy to work with somebody. Just toss me an email and we can work on that.
Can you move our pictures?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You don't want to look at yourself still, Larissa?
Okay, I'm seeing too much of myself. When at home for remote learning, will the settings of the laptop need to be changed again to work? And I'll answer that after you answer it.
Well, why don't you go ahead for that one?
Well, as far as extended desktop, it only goes to extended desktop when you plug in a second monitor. But I still think that I have a second monitor at home. And when I plugged in, I'm extended. When I came here, I had to still extend my desktop. So I think you might have to do that. It remembers the last place you were. And but when you come back to school and plug in, you should be good to go. So you should not have to change and orient and do all that each time as far as that. As far as Zoom, I'm assuming the same thing. It should be fine.
Yep. So once you set your settings in Zoom, the next time it'll be there unless you've changed it.
Okay.
Is that it for
Zoom
Zoom?
question? Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get through the rest. And because we only have a couple slides, and then we'll go ahead and Larissa spend the rest of the time on classroom setup. questions, because that way, if we do go over time, people are welcome to stay on so that they can hear some of their questions answered. So let's go ahead. So just want to touch base really quickly on our device hygiene, right? So we have heard some like talk in buildings that people are saying don't use the smart board. That is not our message. We've also talked with the facilities, and they said that's not their message either. And health and safety has said that's not their message. We have all conferred that device hygiene is the main thing. So what that means is that before you touch the smartboard, give the students a little squirt of hand sanitizer, let them sanitize. They can use the smartboard, they can use the iPads, they can use the technology, and then sanitize again afterwards. Now, if they're sitting there and haven't touched anything or done anything, they don't have to re-sanitize if you've seen that they haven't, right? They're just standing there and go back and touch. Now, if they go back to their desk and like touch a bunch of stuff, have them sanitize again. Now, all of the schools will be getting, and I believe the first shipment went out yesterday for phase 1. All the schools will be getting Lysol wipes. Those Lysol wipes are only for the technology. Just need to wipe it down, end of the day, beginning of the day. You do not need to use it throughout the day, right? Your students will be using the same technology device all day. So they do not need to be cleaned repeatedly, all right? And they're gonna be using hand hygiene. All right, our technology resources. So I am hoping that at this point, everybody knows our CSD Learns. This is where you go for our office hours. This is where you went to get this video. This is where you went for everything. Let's go ahead and pop over there. Sorry, my computer's a little touchy today. All right, so on here, we have all resources for families, staff. We have all of our Zoom stuff, pretty much everything you would need. Sorry, let me make that bigger. There we go. That's much better. And our office hours are on here, our online support, and then also the whole website that we are adding to daily on approaches to simultaneous instruction, along with all of the videos from today will be saved here. They're not going away. The resources are staying. You can go back and watch us 10 times if you'd like. Down for you so that you have what you need for when we start. So as the way you got to this video today, through
I'm going to jump in. Kathleen, I can't hear you.
Perfect. Sorry, I pulled a Larissa for a second and hit play. Let's see, let me head back there. All right.
My camera isn't on because I may have done something to that comment.
All right. Well, I'm sure I'll hear about it. So yeah, I hit one of these to play, but you'll see they're all going to be here. All right. So your survey, everything's going to be here. So please go back. We're going to be adding more and more to this. We're going to work on organizing a little bit. So we kind of have a lot of stuff in there that that we want to try to make it easier to find everything. We just have so much information out there and so many resources that we want to make sure that all teachers have. So if you need to request that webcam or wireless mic, which most of everybody in this group needs to at least do the wireless mic and absolutely should do a webcam. ITTOAs or office hour link are there. If you cannot make it during that time, please just email us. We really try to do whatever you need and are here to support you. As I said, this presentation and all of our resources can be found on that link there. And I am going to stop my share so that Larissa can pop back on and we can look at continuing answering as many questions as we can. Don't
Okay.
forget your survey at the end. I forgot the last group, but that link is on the page as well.
I'm going to just go through the classroom setup. I'm just going to add question answer. If we extend our desktop at home, will we have to do it again at school because it is a newer, different equipment? Yes, the first time. I think you do it at school and then it will stay. The one thing is, I think you want to make sure your computer and your second monitor are going the same way.
Now with newer equipment, Larissa, I know you're going to move on to the next one, but I want to jump in. When you go to school for the first time, know that when you restart your computer, it's going to take a bit of time, right? Because you've been off the network for a bit. You need to let it run the updates. So I believe RTA said, like, gave some dates of when people have to. I don't know. That's not our department. That's not us. But make sure, don't restart your computer right before you need to be online and teach. All right. Give yourself a good amount of time.
Yeah, the sooner you can just set up your classroom front, I think the better, because if there are any issues, you can put tickets in. Will Rock Connect be on iPads? We're sending out an iPad email later today. Yes, they're going to use the Quick Card app, so that will go through all that information. If want to teach remote from Thursday and Friday at home, do I change back the settings from the smartboard? I think you just go home and plug in and it should be okay. You come to school, plug in, and it should be okay. Once you unplug, you don't have that second monitor. So I think you should be fine. What if students have hearing aids or microphone amplifiers? I think you would, if they're in person, you would continue to use that amplification system that's in their, IEP and set up for them. Are you recommending that kids don't Zoom with each other, but it is the full class Zoom only? No, I'm not recommending any specific setup. We are recommending that full group time with all your kids is limited. You decide how you're going to do it. I know some teachers already have their math groups. They're not changing them. And what I just mentioned was, I know that morning meeting is often a time for full group, but a best practice, if you're using rotations, you would still do that same thing. So we were not saying, anything about that.
Right. And definitely connect with your Office of Teaching and Learning and with what they're recommending for your content.
This was a really good question. And we didn't talk about it. We weren't clear. How will the kids at home be able to hear the in-person kids? You know what? We're not going to worry about that right away. For week 1, we're going to worry that the at-home kids, you're talking to them on Zoom. The in-person kids can hear you. You could turn on the camera. You can turn your laptop so they can see each other. And for that morning meeting, I would repeat what the kids in the classroom say, because yes, unless you go over or they come near this microphone on your computer, they wouldn't hear them. So we are focusing today on not getting fancy and worrying about that yet, that you can be heard to give your content and, a little extra. So you may have to relay some of those questions. All right. I think that was all the questions I saw, Kathleen. Did you see any other ones?
I think, at least with our delay, I think that is what we have. If we did miss a question, please know we are compiling them all and we will post them on the simultaneous instruction page through our CSD Learns. So,
Kathleen, one question I know you'll love to show.
oh.
And you don't, just know that it's a Zoom setting. How do I show the Zoom panel? Like when I want to show a student where the Zoom screen to find a mic is?
All right. So that is actually the same place as all of our video settings. So let me go ahead, and Larissa knows I love to do this stuff. It's very exciting to me. All right. So I'm sharing my Zoom window, which is what you want to do, right? So to show that Zoom panel. So I can, Larissa, you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know it's in there. I don't even know how to do that. So,
All right. So number one, you have to be on the desktop app. It doesn't work through the clicking through Rock Connect. You have to join the meeting via the desktop app. Start it there. Then you go up to your little video settings, and we're going to come into share screen, and you have a button. Where did it go? Is it in this one? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
right there.
Show my Zoom window to other participants when I am screen sharing. So that needs to be turned on. Now, if that doesn't work, then you need to go into your default settings in Rock Connect and turn it on there. When you click on Rock Connect and Zoom, the settings come up there. So, and I do have all that in our through our CSD Learns. There's a video and information on that you can look at. And let me stop that share. So I know Larissa loves to watch herself on video.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. There is the survey on that first page. And it should be live. And thank you. And we look forward to seeing you and working with you.
So please come join us in office hours and let us know if you need support.